Hi everyone, the professional development form that I chose was coaching. So with coaching, I feel like there's assumptions that people make about it. So I'm going to kind of talk about what it is through what it is and what it isn't. I'll start with the what it isn't side first. So it's not meant to be evaluative. I feel like anytime a teacher has someone come into their classroom or is discussing their lesson plans, they're worried that it's going to come back to get them in some way, and that's not the idea of coaching. And that should be driven by the second bullet point here, that it's driven by the goals of the coach. So the idea is that I'm not there to get the teacher to do this one specific thing. It's that they're coming and getting goals and figuring out what they need based on other things that are going on. So part of the plan that I'll be doing is that I'll be doing some whole school or whole content PD, and that their goals should come out of that, but they're going to get more specific on that based on what their actual needs are. It's an opportunity it's not an opportunity for the coach to solve the teacher's problems. It's more, I'm there to help them think through it and arrive at their own solutions to their problems so that going forward they know how to fix those things. And it's also not a one-time event, and I'll talk about that more when I get into what the timing of my things actually look like. So what is it? It's usually one-on-one sessions with a teacher. There are different forms. I'm not going to be using the peer coaching form for mine. I'll be using more of the instructional coaching. So it'll be me meeting one-on-one with teachers so that I can assist them with their process of implementing some of this professional development and the ideas behind it. So part of the role in that I'm not solving their problems, part of the role is to identify the problems and bring their own solutions to light. So I talked about a little bit with that, with the what it isn't side. And then finally, it's supporting teachers in development of deeper understanding of content knowledge. So we've been kind of revolving around content knowledge in our last module or two, and you can see that coming through in the coaching, that it's an opportunity for, after we do a whole school or a whole content PD, for us to get a little more specific for their actual content. So even if I'm talking about something in a science content meeting, it's going to be different for a bio class or for a chem class. So it's going to get even closer when we get into those coaching sessions. So strengths and weaknesses, I think one of the strengths is that it's individualized. I get to meet with teachers one-on-one instead of talking in those big sessions. I definitely get some individual time in those larger sessions, but having that extended time with one teacher really lets us to get into what they actually need. It's about building relationships as much as it is about instruction. So I get to learn a lot about teachers through this process. We're definitely going to talk about their instruction. We're going to talk about what they actually want to accomplish, but I'm also learning a lot about them as a person, as a teacher. And it's focused more on authentic teacher learning and the conditions that support it. So part of that is that relationship building, and also part of it is their self-identification. I can only do so much of hitting on what are their needs in a whole school or a whole content PD. They're going to have a lot stronger voice in those individual sessions. One of the weaknesses is that part that it's not evaluative. Coaching is usually something that is encouraged but not required. So you can get a little bit of pushback with that, but I think if you build the right environment, it's something that can be overcome. And also more time needs to be created. We have time set aside for professional development, but not every teacher is going to have that extra hour or extra 2 hours a marking period or a semester to make time to come in for a coaching session. I think to overcome that one, you really have to let them see buy-in from other people, let them see the value in it, and that the time that they put into it is actually going to end up saving them time in the long run rather than costing them time. So I just wanted to put in one slide to talk a little bit about why this works for my plan. So just the idea of how long a professional development plan or the parts of professional development should be kind of working together. And one of the times was 20 hours or more of contact time, which is kind of what I'm shooting for, that we'll have 4 whole staff PD sessions, and those will be between 1 and 3 hours. But that's not the entirety of what we're doing. That there's going to be follow-up in content teams, there's going to be follow-up with one-on-one meetings through coaches to get closer to that 20 hours. And also this acknowledges that to bring about deep learning and lasting change, such workshops must be coupled with support for teachers' sustained efforts to implement. So it's not something that we're just doing in those sessions and then we're done. There's going to be further support. So if I have a session at the middle of March, they're not going to not hear from me until we get to our next one in the beginning or middle of April. I'm going to be meeting with teachers, and they're going to be bringing that back to their content so that they're getting that follow-up for how do I actually apply this to what I'm doing. And there's definitely still questions I have. One is, how do I ensure teachers, or how do I make teachers feel confident that it's not evaluative? And this kind of goes to the second one, how do I keep the principal in the loop while not divulging that private information? So, if it's private and I'm not there to evaluate, but then I go tell the principal specifics about how some of those are going, teachers may fear that that's going to, in a roundabout way, end up in their evaluation. So it's about keeping that privacy while also keeping everyone in the loop, and also having a way to assess that this is actually being effective. And then also thinking about the time from the teacher side, also time from my side. How do I find time or split up time if I have more teachers who want time, or which teachers do I get to first? So kind of, it's a little bit of a balancing act with all of that. But I think with any new professional development or any new plan that you're trying, that kind of comes with the territory. So that's all I have for mine. Thank you for listening. Those are all the references for the information that I had.